Hey there, MSPs and IT pros. Today we're going to get an in-depth look of Guardz. Now, I've been playing with this software platform for a few weeks now, but it's no fun for us to just load up mine. So we're going to set it up for my church together. Now, normally you would set this up as an MSP, but I've already set up my MSP portal. So I'm just going to hit get started and get started as the church. So you go to guardz.com, guardz.com, and then we're going to hit this get started button here on the website. And the first thing we'll do is we can log in with Google or Microsoft single sign-on, or you can, do it with your business email address. Let's log in with Microsoft. What'll happen is a window will pop up. You'll be asked to pick an account, and then you can consent on behalf of your organization. And this goes over all the permissions it asks. But basically, sign in and read user info, maintain access to data you've given access to. So we'll accept that. There we go. Here's where we can set it up for ourselves, the MSP. And I guess I'm interested in all. That seems reasonable. And I want to protect against all. Let's go. So let's connect this to Microsoft 365. There we go. And we'll activate. Here's where it's looking for the real meat and potatoes. Here's where it wants all kinds of permission. And you can go through and read more about each of these, open them up, but I've already gone through this before, so I feel comfortable. I'll hit accept. Verifying permissions. Please proceed to the next step. I'm giving it a made-up phone number because I can. And I'll skip the logo for now. Risk reports are pretty cool. Let's do a risk report for RocketMSP. And what it'll do is it's going to scan everything it can find about RocketMSP.io, and it's going to present us with a report that basically says, here's all the things that you should fix for a solid cybersecurity posture. All right, your cybersecurity journey has begun. Your trial kicks off now, protecting your clients from the digital threats of today and tomorrow. Go to dashboard. All right. We're here to help, book a meeting. So if you hit this, it'll take you to Calendly or HubSpot or whatever this looks like HubSpot. So we'll hit next. So here's all your customers' assets. So you'll see we've got users, devices, mailboxes, browsers, cloud drives, and internet assets. The internet assets are domain names, IP addresses. There could be other things that I'm not thinking of, but those are the ones that really pop out. Next, we've got this really cool radar view. I'm a big fan of this radar thing. They even have an animation that goes around every, 10 seconds or so, which really drives the radar piece home. But basically, this is designed to show you issues detected across the different security controls that Guardz protects against. Hey, there's that radar thing we were talking about. Manage your customers. So when you're in, Guardz has multiple views. So you'll see up here in the top left, it says all customers and single customer. So on all customers view, this section here shows you all of your customers in a list. You can hit this new button and add a new customer. You can also generate prospecting reports, which is that thing that I did earlier where I typed in RocketMSP.io. Navigate between customers. And this is what I was talking about earlier. So we can hit this and we can look at just the demo customer. And this demo customer here is it. Okay, so now that we're looking at a single customer, it's going to walk us through this again, mainly because some of this is different. Now it's going to show us the security score. So what's really cool about Guardz is they offer cyber insurance, that they are the broker. You are just a referral partner, so you don't have to worry about selling the insurance. They'll do all the hard work, but they currently have it to where your security score needs to be at a certain threshold before they will consider selling insurance to the customer. The reason for that is because they don't want to insure people that have a poor cybersecurity posture, because it's more likely that they're going to have to make a payout if you don't have great cybersecurity. So we'll talk about how to increase or improve this score here shortly, but we'll just hit next. And then you'll see we've got issues by risk. And then we've got this insights panel, and this insights panel is really cool. It shows us when we've got leaked credentials they don't use Have I Been Pwned, but they use several other partners to kind of gather data from the dark web and determine, do you have leaked credentials? Do you have MFA enabled? If there's training required, risk rating, all sorts of great information in the Insights panel. And we'll hit done. All right. So now that we have gone through the little tour of the platform, that was really just a tour of the dashboard portion. There are several other modules that we can go to inside here. So let's start by just looking at some insights here. If we look at the radar, we see here's the issues across different controls, right? So let's look at some insights. We'll find leaked credentials with no MFA. If we hit this little arrow here, it's going to take us over to the issues that are related to MFA and even severities. They've already filtered it for us. So when you come over to this issues page, they've got it automatically filtered after you click on one of the issues in the Insights tab. So when we look at the issue type, it's already got the MFA missing type of issues already checked. And there's tons of issues in this list here, but right now it's only showing us the MFA ones, and it's also showing us user leaked credentials. It shows you the username or email address associated with the leak and the password. I don't remember, or I don't know, I guess I should say, if it shows you like what the password is for, like if this was for Dropbox or anything like that, but does it really matter? It's got that email address, it's got a password leaked. So if that user has any passwords that match this one, those need changed right away. Now you'll see here there's two different options. There's ignore and there's remediation. So both of those options will help increase your security score. Now let's kind of unpack that for a moment. So you have to have a good security score in order to qualify for insurance. If you ignore the issue, it technically will improve your score, okay? But if you ignore too many issues, that information is sent over to the insurance carrier, what's been ignored. So they're going to look at like all of these ignored issues and have a conversation with you and determine if your customer is really eligible. So it's in your best interest to hit the remediate button. You know, we can hit reset password and we'll do it manually. And here's where we can reset their password. We can mark it as processed. So it gives you all the instructions on how to remediate this issue. And all you have to do is follow the instructions and mark it as processed when you're done. Eventually, Guardz is planning on making it so it's able to automate as much as possible. They want to make this, I don't know if idiot-proof is the right term, but they want to make this as accessible and friendly as possible for MSPs and companies alike. So that is a very quick insight into the issues list. Let's go back home and you'll notice that disappeared. So poor risk rating. Let's click on this and see what happens. So this is just showing us all open and in progress issues of all but info severity. So here's where you can start looking through all of the issues for the customer. And so you can click on one of these, and this is a suspicious email. And you can even click here to preview the email. And you can determine as the administrator, is this actually a malicious email? Is it a phishing attempt or, an attempt to install a virus or whatever? Or is it a legitimate email that just looks fishy? So at this point, you can either ignore it or you can remediate. If you hit remediate, you actually see that you can add this domain or sender to the allow list. So not all remediation options are, I'll call it negative remediation. If you looked at that email and determined, hey, this isn't suspicious, you can mark the email as safe. And then we can remediate and then well done, issue resolved. And then we can close this, and that's one more issue knocked off of the list. And then you'll see I just clicked one of these random endpoint protection. Guardz continuously monitors the state, the native antivirus of on your organization's devices. So Guardz will link up with Microsoft Defender. Now, I know what you're thinking, Microsoft Defender. It's actually a pretty good product these days, when managed well. And we'll show you here in just a moment how Guardz is able to manage that. So you'll see here it's found that the device setting value is inactive. So if I hit remediate, we can enforce the policy and it will automatically go through and try to activate Microsoft Defender on this device. There we go. We finished solving yet another problem. Now, you're probably wondering, well, that's great, but how do I set up these security controls? That's a great question. This second icon down is for security controls. So if we click on that, the first time you go to it, it'll walk you through this fun little wizard. So welcome to your security controls. Here's where you can connect your cloud directory. Good luck on your journey towards 100% controls activated. Good. All right, so the first thing we'll do is let's just take a look through how they've got this demo account set up. So you'll see this demo account is using Google Workspace. It was connected on today. So when they created the demo account for our Guardz account, it connected an imaginary Google Workspace account with 10 users. You'll notice in here, there's not really much for settings. You can look and see, here's the different users, and you can activate or deactivate each of these users. And you can even change their type. So you can make them members, viewers, or admins. So, for example, if you were to make them a viewer, they're able to log into Guardz and view things, but they can't change anything. Whereas an admin can log in and they can actually like remediate problems and change security controls. All right, next is the external footprint scan. This scan uses your domain's DNS to scan for dozens of external detections like SPF, DMARC, SSL, open ports, vulnerable operating systems, tons of stuff. There's not a way right now to manually add domains or IPs to this list that I've found, but you can dispute IPs in the list. So if you come here and click on Internet Assets, you can place one of these in dispute, and it will actually open up a chat with Guardz, and you can say this asset doesn't belong to me. That's that, and it'll think, and it's all AI driven. So they'll take a look and they'll remove the asset. There you go. If you want this to scan the IP addresses of your client's office internet connection, you're going to need to add an A record that points to it from their domain. So in this case, if we go to security controls and we look at their cloud directory, you see everything's demo.com. So you would need to set up like office.demo.com and point that to their IP address in their DNS settings, and then that will scan their office IP, and that'll let you know of any vulnerabilities that it finds on that IP address at the office. The next security control in the list is dark web monitoring. This all happens automatically. There's no settings to configure. And let's be honest, no cybersecurity platform is complete today without dark web monitoring. A lot of dark web monitoring platforms are just regurgitating what you can find on Have I Been Pwned, but Guardz has confirmed that not only are they not using Have I Been Pwned, they have multiple third-party sources on top of their own tools for scraping the dark web. So the domains that you'll see listed are all the domains attached to the cloud directory, which is going to be either Google Workspace or Microsoft 365. After dark web monitoring, the next control is cloud data protection. You can add your client's Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace account here, but they also support Dropbox, Teams, Slack, and Monday.com. So once configured, it will start scanning the accounts for public links and external shares. So basically, anytime somebody has shared a file or a document to an external person, it's going to look and see if those shares are still active. And basically, it's going to give you the opportunity to say, you know what, maybe I don't want that to be an active share anymore. And you can go through your admin controls and disable that share. And this is going to look at all shares, not just new ones created since activating Guardz. So that logo that you shared 4 years ago to the marketing firm that you're no longer working with, well, it's still shared, and Guardz is going to have it listed as an issue for me to remediate or ignore. The next control is email protection. Finally, something that's got some settings. You'll see here we can set up the caution banner and quarantine settings. So the default threshold is 10 for both. For just the caution banner. The quarantine default threshold is 15. I believe the lower the number, the more suspicious the software is. So if you were to set this to a 3, just about everything's getting quarantined. If you set this to a 0, everything's getting a caution banner. I'm going to close that and not save those settings. You can also add to the block or allow list from here. So you can just hit the edit pencil if you want to look and see the senders in the list, or you can hit the plus and you can say, you know what, let's just add the domain. Let's add the domain RocketMSP.io as an allowed sender. And now you're going to see there's one, and there's a pencil here, and now I can come in here and I can delete that if I want. There's no confirmation or anything, so make sure you know what you're doing when you click that. And that's how you edit the email protection settings. Next up is endpoint security. Now earlier I mentioned they integrate with Microsoft Defender, so we'll hit this little pencil here, and you'll see since we're on a single customer, there's the global settings, and then you can override those global settings. So in order to override, you just hit this box here, and then you can change this between monitor and force, active or not. You can set the scheduled scans, what type of scan is it going to do, when is it going to schedule the scans, so on and so forth. Now, the big thing for you to notice here is monitor and enforce. So enforce means that Guardz is going to actively try to make changes on the computer in Defender in order to enforce these settings. Monitor just means it's going to make an alert if it sees something it doesn't like, but it's not going to try and enforce those settings. Secure browsing is a pretty straightforward Chrome extension that you deploy to your endpoints. The primary reason you would deploy it is for browsing activity monitoring. You'll get alerted if anyone accesses sites with malware, phishing, unwanted applications, and more. It also monitors their download activity for unwanted applications and malware. Finally, the secure browsing extension has social engineering detection to see if they accessed a phishing website. Not only does it monitor browsing activity, but it also checks the browser version to make sure that Chrome or Edge are running a safe version. Now, I'm pretty confident that means you're just running the latest version, but they're going to make sure that the version of Chrome or Edge you're running does not have any known exploits. If they find an exploit, they're going to alert you that so-and-so's computer is not secure. The last two security controls are security awareness training and phishing simulations. Now, I say the last two because these two are actually, in my opinion, the same, not the same, but the reason I lump these together is because they're both campaigns. They're both education, awareness type stuff that you can activate for your clients. So security awareness, if I were to click on this little arrow here to go to the awareness campaigns, you'll actually see phishing simulation as an option. So what does that mean? If I were in the phishing simulation area and I hit phishing simulation campaigns, oh look, it takes me to the same place. So this is where you manage all of your security awareness training and testing, if you will. All right, so now that we've gone through all of the security controls for the demo account, let's look at a few more things. Under issues, it's got some views here, so we can click and go to quarantine view, and this is going to show us just the quarantined emails. They've got email view, so it's going to show us all quarantined and suspicious emails. Cloud DLP view. This is where it would show us if we have any active shares or other data loss prevention alerts or issues that we should be aware of. Device issues would be the browser monitoring or antivirus status. It's basically anything that's related to the device and not the cloud directory, Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. Let's go back into the default view, and the default view is filtered. It's going to basically get rid of the info, and it's going to show only the open or in progress issues. It's going to get rid of the closed and ignored ones. So when you're in this view, it can feel a little daunting, and I know they're working on that by creating some new views and prioritizing these things for you, but it's actually not too bad. You can click here and you can sort. You can look at, oh, here's all my critical severity, and these are low-hanging fruit. They're critical. That means I need to work on these immediately. MFA missing for an admin on Google. Well, that's easy enough. You just come in here, you hit remediation, activate MFA. This is a manual remediation, so it's going to have you go through some steps to enable MFA for that user. It's even got a screenshot here. Here's how you activate it. We can mark it as processed when complete. They will move the progress into the completed state. Now, since I didn't actually do that, it's not going to complete. It's going to set the status as in progress, I believe, and leave it there. It will change to completed once it detects MFA has been activated for that user. But until then, it's just going to be in here as in progress. So that's how you go through those issues. Let's set up the customer together. Now that we've kind of gone through everything here, I didn't go through users. Users shows you all the users, and if you were to hit view details on one of these users, you can change their license or role, and then it'll show you, open issues. So if you click on this, it'll show you just the issues for that user, which is pretty helpful. So that's the users page, and then there's the devices page. This shows you all of the endpoints or servers that you have deployed Guardz to. And again, you can click on one of these devices, and it's just going to take you right to the issues for that device. The Internet Assets page will show you a list of all the assets that the external footprint scan detected. Like all the other pages, we can show the assets for all customers or a single customer. As you scroll through the list, you'll see which assets have issues. So this column here shows you which assets have issues. You can't click on the assets and get more information or a link to the issues, but there is an interesting button here that says place in dispute. We talked about this earlier. So if you see an asset and you're like, whoa, this isn't my customers, you just click on the place in dispute, and Guardz, the AI chatbot, will assist you in removing that asset from the list. Awareness, this takes you right to that awareness section that we were looking at earlier. And then there's an upgrade button if you're still in a trial. And then a question here. This is for getting to help. This is also where you can open up some chats with the team or chat with Guardz, the AI chatbot. And then finally, there's the profile link. And here's where you can change some organization links, set up your profile. You can integrate with PSAs, ConnectWise Manager Autotask today. And you can also change your subscription and billing or delete the organization if you decide you want to take your ball and go home. So let's set up Mosaic Northeast Ohio, which I added here earlier. We're going to go right into the security controls. We're going to verify, okay, cloud directory posture, it's set up, good. External footprint scan, set up, good. Dark web monitoring, it's found all our domains. Cloud data protection, I'm going to hit activate, and I will do Microsoft 365, install. And we can go through these, which I've already done in the past, so I feel comfortable hitting accept. But as an admin, you should always review the security permissions and make sure you're comfortable with what you see in that list. And once it has verified it has the correct permissions, that will, I believe, just go away. Now we could also add Dropbox Teams because we happen to have a Dropbox account. I will hit connect, but I'm currently logged into my Dropbox, so I'm not gonna go through that. But it's very similar. Dropbox and Slack, Monday, they're all very similar, where they're going to show you the permissions, you're going to approve them, and then it's kind of done. So there you go. It's got the scan happening. Let's do email protection. Let's activate this. We'll do Microsoft 365, install, go through the same motions where we pick the user, we allow these permissions, it verifies, and then it's complete. Endpoint security. So I can hit deploy here, and now this is a terrible example. The reason I say it's terrible is because the endpoint security. So for this, all we have to do is hit the deploy button, and it's going to pop up this option here for us to select what type of device, and we can either download a script or download the installer to do a manual installation. And they have an organization key, which I'm not going to show you because that would be foolish, but this organization key should be kept secret. It is a part of the deployment process. And then here's where we looked at earlier, we can set up the policy settings. Same with secure browsing. If I hit deploy here, we can send an email to all the people. We can send it from me. We can skip the email. So I'll do that. And security awareness training. Let's set up a security awareness training campaign. So I want to do, well, onboarding seems like the most logical one. And it's going to take them through 3 videos: personal safety, corporate safety, and phishing. So we'll hit continue, and I'm going to pick one user who happens to be executive pastor that I'll send this over to. So I'll hit send automatically, assign, and there we go. Now you'll see that Chris Dewar is assigned. He's in all these different groups, and the status is he has not completed the onboarding campaign. Let's go back into security controls. You'll see there's phishing simulations. So let's set up a phishing simulation campaign. Oh, it's required to add the Guardz phishing simulation domain and IP to your allow lists. So click here for detailed instructions. So for Microsoft 365, it's got all these steps. I mean, it seems daunting, but it's really not. You go through, you follow these instructions, and you set it up so that way Guardz is allowed to send those emails and that they stay in the inbox. That's the important part, is you want to make sure they stay in the inbox so that the customer, or end user, I should say, is able to see them and work with them. So let's just pretend I went through and did those settings. What's really cool here is you can say to company name. Let's change this to Mosaic Wadsworth. Actually, no, let's leave it as Mosaic Northeast Ohio. He'll think it's more official that way. And we'll say it's from, we'll use the name Bob, and then we'll have their title be building manager. And the content type, let's have it be internal communication, industry. I wonder if they have church or religion. No church. Religious institutions. Tone, casual, content length, medium. Let's make it short. And generate. It's using ChatGPT or something similar. Dear Steve, as part of our routine building maintenance, we need to schedule some important work during the upcoming week that may impact your day-to-day activities here at Mosaic Northeast Ohio. I do want to change that to just Mosaic, and then we'll hit regenerate. Wednesday and Thursdays, please ensure that your workstation is cleared and all personal belongings are taken home with you. Really love that because reasons. Okay, we'll hit continue. That one seems good. And then I'll find poor Chris Dewar here, and I'll hit next, and I'll assign. And I'm pretty sure the hi Steve is going to change to hi Chris because his name is Chris, but we'll find out. I'll check in with Chris and see what happened. So you'll see that I have the ability on a trial to create 10 of these prospecting reports. And I'm not sure why, when you give it the domain RocketMSP.io, it comes back with a customer name of RocketM. I don't know if this is because I've got multiple letters that are capitalized all next to each other, or if I've got something listed incorrectly somewhere. Yeah, so we can hit customize, and we can change. Oh, look, I can change the customer name. I could even change the number of employees if I wanted to. But once that report's ready, it'll give you the option to download or open it. I've already downloaded the one with the misspelled company name. No big deal. And you'll see here that risk analysis, it says that my business has a cyber posture of 68 and the consulting benchmark is 79. So I'm not as bad as I could be, but I'm definitely not stellar. I'm right around the middle. It says it has 17 security findings by severity, medium and high, and it also has security issues by category, network and IT, application. Those are the two big ones. I have 0 compromised credentials, which is actually really great. Dark web findings. I have 0 compromised credentials for RocketMSP. Now my other domains, I do have compromised credentials. I know that for sure. Next, external surface findings. 17 publicly exposed vulnerable assets. That's not something to be alarmed about per se. That's just letting you know that, hey, we've got 17 assets that could be alarming. And those assets are going to be anything from IPs, office, it could be an office IP, it could be a website hosting IP, subdomains, just any assets that it finds, basically using DNS on the domain name that you've listed. So what I don't know is how they come up with this number. Let's take a look here. This data aims to estimate the potential financial loss that can occur based on the scan results, taking into account the industry, the findings, the size of the digital footprint, and the company's size. So me being a data nerd, I still don't get it, because I want to know, like, what's the math? I want to see the calculation. But 13,000, I mean, that's, depending on the business, 13,000 could be crippling. So just seeing that information is, I think, helpful in a prospecting type of scenario. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've given them RocketMSP.io, and thanks to it scanning DNS, it found some subdomains that are worth looking into. So it found that with each of these assets, there are different levels of findings. So dev.rocketmsp, one of the findings, for example, is WordPress exposed users via JSON API. Now, I started building a WordPress dev site. It's in such early stages that I haven't installed any security measures onto it yet. So that makes sense why that's in the list. TLS SSL supports deprecated protocols. So if you're allowing, TLS 1.2 or older versions of TLS, then it's going to list that as high risk, and you may want to consider not allowing those legacy deprecated protocols. Dark web scan. As I mentioned before, I know my other domains have some compromised credentials. I don't know that this domain has compromised credentials, so I'm kind of impressed, if I'm being honest, seeing that information. And then here, it gives you an external risk posture, so it shows us that some of these don't make sense. 12 out of 6 assets, TLS. I wonder if it's like TLS 1.0 and 1.1 are allowed, and those are deprecated. I'm pulling out educated guesses as to why this findings number is higher than the assets number. Financial loss, glossary, common threats. This is a fantastic report. It's not designed to be the only thing you need to sell cybersecurity. It's not designed to be the only thing you need to sell cybersecurity focused MSP services to your prospects, but it is designed to show that, hey, look, cybersecurity is something we take seriously, and we've invested some time and money into doing this right. Let's take a look at some of these other buttons up here. So you'll see there's this Growth Hub, and the Growth Hub has some tools, resources, education that helps you grow your practice. So one, they've got the prospecting reports, but then they've also got this ROI report. And let's select demo, just because I don't know what this does or what it shows. Something went wrong. Okay, let's try a different customer. It could be unhappy because I haven't been here for 30 days, or it may just be unhappy that I chose demo. While this processes, they do have the opportunity for you to earn referrals. While this processes, they do have the opportunity for you to earn money for referrals. And the money that you earn, I believe this is for referring cyber insurance business into this. So your clients becoming cyber insurance customers of Guardz. Now, I know that sounds a little scary, because why would I want the cybersecurity company to be working directly with my client? Well, they don't want to provide the cybersecurity to your client. They just want to provide the insurance. And the reason they have to do that is because they're the broker. by law, you are not an insurance broker. You cannot quote or provide insurance to them because insurance is a heavily regulated industry. I believe that MSPs will eventually go down that path, but we're not there yet, so we don't have to worry about that right now. So that ROI report has downloaded. And here's what we can see. My security score, oh look, we are able to see that the security score went up by ignoring all of those shared file issues. So detected issues, 1 critical, 2 high, 187 medium, 180 of them are listed as resolved. It shows that we have 52 out of 53 safe users. 1 admin user is missing MFA. And so it's got some really great information down here. So it's a simple 1-page report that you can use to demonstrate your value to your clients. Maybe you want to sit down and do quarterly business reviews, QBRs, with your clients. You just create one of these reports that has either a 30 or 90 or maybe even a 365 1-year report overview. And this will be a great opportunity for you to show, hey, look, here's all the issues we've detected. Here's all the issues we've resolved. And here's how your cybersecurity posture is looking. Next, you'll see subscriptions down here in this growth hub. So this here shows you that I've got 1 customer on a trial. I've got no customers on starter and no customers on pro. The difference between starter and pro, I believe, is that with pro, you are starting off with a minimum of 100 licenses, whereas starter, you can start off with as few as 1. I did it for myself, RocketMSP, 1 license of Guardz. My company profile is 80% complete. It's got 5 items to do. I only did 4 of them. I never uploaded a logo. My channel manager, right now, it doesn't look like they have a dedicated channel manager. They have a group of channel managers that you just kind of work with the one that's available soonest. But I'm sure once you start to build a relationship with these guys, you can email them directly. And then let's look at the meat and potatoes here. Resources. MSP to SMB. So let's download this. We're going to cut all of that out, right? Still cutting, still cutting. All right, so this is that Guardz MSP to SMB. This is businesses battle with cybersecurity. This is just a great 3-page document that you can send your prospects or even your clients that said, that says, hey, look, we want to level up our cybersecurity. We want to start charging you a little bit more, but here's why. Here's what we're going to do for you. So what a great document. And they've got financial, so that, they've got specific vertical industries. So they've got financial, legal, they've got survey results, which is something I want to take a look at here in a moment. Education, healthcare, they've got an MSP sales deck. So they've got some pretty cool sounding resources here. Let's take a look at some of these resources. That's huge. Give me 1 second here to resize this. All right, so here's the survey infographics. This is a 10-page, bridging the cyber gap. 57% of respondents said their business has been the target of a cybersecurity breach. So I feel like this is a misleading statement, if I'm being honest. This 50% of respondents said their business has been the target of a cybersecurity breach. That's surprisingly low. And I wonder if the other 43% just don't realize they've been the target of a cybersecurity breach. 44% believe their antivirus solution fully protects their business. 25% don't train their employees. 89% believe they need cyber insurance. Okay, good. So this has some really great information that you should be able to use to sell cyber insurance as well as your cybersecurity services to your clients and prospects. Next is a Guardz MSP sales deck. This is the other thing I said I wanted to take a look at. And this is a 9-slide sales deck. And it looks like it has not survey results, but facts. So that's cool that they've got some facts there. Common threats, impact, obviously some things you should edit. This is a PowerPoint, by the way, if you can't tell on my computer here. Why now? What we offer. So some things that could be edited so that way it fits correctly on the screen, but otherwise, this is a really great resource. So I'm pretty impressed with this Growth Hub. Customers, this is just a list of your customers, and it'll also show how many users the customer has, as well as the number of open issues, when you added them, and their security scores. So a lot of great information right in a single table here. Finally, let's take a look at pricing. So they have Starter, Pro, and Ultimate. Starter is no commitment, no minimum. You can start with a single user, $9 per user per month. Pro, you get an annual commitment, and you have to have at least 100 users, but you get it for $5 per user per month. Ultimate, this wasn't even in the list a couple weeks ago, so I'm really excited to see what they are going to include with the Ultimate plan. Fingers crossed, maybe Ultimate somehow includes cyber insurance or cyber warranty somehow. But in this subscription and billing page, you're able to change the plan that you're on for your MSP, update your payment method, your billing details, review all of your past invoices, and you can also see what customers are on what plan. So which customers are on trials versus which customers are on the starter or pro plans. So that is an overview of Guardz. Why don't you leave a note in the comments and tell us what you think of this unified cybersecurity platform for MSPs?